Hi guys, my name is Milan Collins and I will be presenting my Lucidchart presentation on vulnerable populations. We're talking about vulnerability and how vulnerable populations are affected by these 6 factors. Vulnerability is defined as susceptibility to negative events. A vulnerable population are those groups who have increased risk to develop adverse health outcomes. So 6 vulnerable populations are related to poverty, homelessness, mental illness, rural migrant health, infectious disease, addiction, and violence. And they all have risk factors, which I included in some of these clouds, which is like health status, education, environmental factors, lack of resource, lack of social support, and lack of financial support. And this all has to do with ineffective coping. Of course, there are other risk factors involved, but I just went ahead and put 6 of them. So talking about poverty and homelessness. So a low socioeconomic status means that there's an increased likelihood of the illness and decreased quality of life. This population, they're uninsured, they have no health insurance, no money, nowhere to live, which means they're less likely to seek preventative health services due to the cost of it and obviously not having access to it. So a lot of the times, homeless populations, they are very ill and they are found by the EMTs or ambulances passed out on the street, which is when they go to the ER. So they wait until last minute. So the next one is mental health. And mental health, they experience a stigma and lack of support from the overall community. I feel like they're classified in kind of their own group, like it's a disease. Mental health is a disease, is a type of person that has it. That's what I feel like people classify them as. Many of the times I've read about that mentally ill people, or should I say the homeless, a lot of them are mentally ill and they don't seek the medical care and attention that they need. So rural and migrant health. I also feel that this is a type of population that's definitely overlooked in health and social planning. There is a feeling of separation from the rest of the community and society, and almost kind of like they're invisible to everyone else. So a 4th vulnerable population is related to is infectious disease. So certain populations and different populations, I would say, don't have access to, like, for example, vaccines or other preventative measures from certain diseases. Obviously, those with less education have the lack of knowledge on how to prevent infectious disease, especially like STDs or HIV, AIDS. Definitely lower socioeconomic status population or poverty don't have access to purchase the necessities to prevent infectious disease or go seek help and medical attention. So addiction is the 5th. And addiction can definitely lead to multiple health issues of an individual. Addiction itself is a disease, and many people who battle addiction will always be known as an addict, and they're also a vulnerable population to society. Lastly, violence. Violence has both emotional and physical effects. It's a learned behavior, social norms, and community actions that can influence types of levels of violence. For example, a child who grows up in a household where there's domestic violence is very, very likely that the child will grow up and commit domestic violence themselves, whether it be if it's a male or even a woman, to a child or to their spouse or a family member. Work, education, media, organized religion, populations, and community facilities all play a role with the likelihood of violence, so that's very important to take into consideration. So like I said, those are the 6 vulnerable populations. All has to do also with ineffective coping. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you for listening. See you later.